So my daily died today. When I left work, I had to drive 20 minutes further away to grab something that I was buying. And then I was like, I'll just take the scenic route home rather than sit on 495 traffic. So started headed home, and I heard this whirring sound, and I was like, oh no, my power steering pump's going up. And it turns out it was actually the alternator. And it was still kind of charging, so I was gonna risk it until it smelled like hot, and then it smelled really bad. So I pulled over, turned it off, popped the hood, and I was like, man, this thing stinks. So I poured some water on it, and it instantly vaporized. I was like, cool. So called the wifey, hey honey, bring the F-250 down. I need to get a ride. Well, she was already out and about, so she couldn't grab the tow dolly. So she just came and picked me up and then took me home. So now I'm headed back down an hour and a half to go get this thing, to load it up on the old U-Haul tow dolly. This is gonna be a fun ride. So, almost 2 hours of driving because of traffic. You wouldn't think there would be traffic at 6:37, 8 o'clock at night, but there is. So 2 hours of driving, made it here, and here's my daily. It's yet another Dodge Neon. I picked this up from my buddy with 167,000 miles on it. It just clicked over 227,000 miles. So funny enough, I had actually threw an alternator in this thing right when I got it because it wasn't charging correctly. And turns out it wasn't charging correctly because it has an old underdrive pulley on it, and it's actually size too small for the car. So, whatever. But it had 167,000 miles on it in August of 2020, and now it's got 227,000. And I've literally done nothing but oil changes to it since then. Well, I take that back. I changed the original clutch and the control arm bushings and the tie rods at 176. But other than that, I haven't done anything. It's overdue for the timing belt. It's overdue for a lot of stuff, and I'm just keep driving it. I'm just waiting for it to die. Anyway, I'm gonna get loaded up. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I've probably put this thing on a tow dolly a lot, but this is only the second time it's ever been towed while in my possession. And the first time was a tow at home because the rear brakes were locked up. I'm actually kind of impressed with myself there. Let's get the lights on, and then I'll just go home. Well, I gotta strap it down, and then we'll go home because I'm tired. Just about ready to hit the road. When I bought this tow dolly, the guy gave me a snap-on bag with it. Said he still had 30 payments left on it, but he'd let me have it for free. Thought it was awful nice of him. Last thing I like doing right before I hit the road, even if I've already towed with it, is checking all the lights, because I don't want to get pulled over for something stupid. So I turn on the running lights and then the flashers and make sure that they light up and flash, so that when I hit my brakes, still working. And I'm good to go. I'm gonna hit the road. It's 9:13 now, so I'm gonna get home at 10:45, almost 11 o'clock. I'm probably not gonna go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna chase down an alternator for this. I gotta go to Advance or AutoZone, wherever I bought this one. What up, nerds? So it's the next day. I actually got this alternator from AutoZone, and it has a warranty. So I'm just gonna yank it out real quick, run it up to town, get it swapped out, and then put it back in, and hopefully be done with this for a couple more years. So let's get started. Sorry, there's a lot going on. There's a guy using a weed whacker across the way, cutting up for the farm. There's bees flying around everywhere. It's first, like, probably gonna be a consistently warm day. So if you hear me run away screaming, it's because I'm terrified of bees. I don't think I'm allergic. I'm just scared. Really. I just have it jacked up high enough to get the wheel off. Because that's all we're really going to need today. Pop the hood. You know what? Before you go much further, disconnect your battery, because you have to loosen the 10mm bolt that holds that alternator power wire on, and that's going to be an unfun time if that's still connected. Holy crap, I can't believe I forgot about that. So there's a little adjuster back here that you can latch your wrench onto and just give it a pull. I think it's a 17, but I'm using an 18 because it's what I got in my bucket. And you gotta put your hand in here and slip the belt off the power steering pump. Just slide it off and then it'll pop off. There's a serpentine belt hanging down. I actually have an underdrive pulley, so I actually had to get a custom sized belt for this. I think it's a 500 belt instead of a 524 or whatever. All right, so back there, this is the alternator. There's a bolt right there. That's the bottom bolt. There's another 15 on the top, and then there's like a tensioner bolt on the back side. So I'm just gonna knock this lower bolt loose to let it pivot forward. Just enough to loosen it up. I gotta try and reach the 15 from the top. So right there's the top of the alternator. There's the adjuster bracket, and then I had to get out my flex head ratchet, which is a little bit longer than my standard 3/8, just so I could reach through here, so I could grab this thing and just loosen it. I just need to loosen it enough at first to let it pivot. This is not really, well, I didn't put a lot of gumption on it. And I don't know if it's because I spilled a bunch of oil, but man, this thing is getting filthy. This is getting just absolutely filthy. You know, I checked the spark plug holes the other day. It's not bad. Maybe it's just from a spill. And then this, I had no idea that this was getting this bad. It's pretty nasty there. Anyway, once you have that 15 loosened right there, on the back of that bracket there's a little 10mm bolt that actually moves that whole thing forward and back. So you just need to loosen that down until the belt's able to come off. It's pretty loosey. Maybe I can just loosen it by hand now. So you can see the bolts coming out. In a second, I'm going to push this forward, and the belt's going to get loose. Let me get this. Turn this. Yeah, I can turn this by hand now. Oh, I just started moving it, so here I'll just. I think I can get the belt off now too. Yep. Slide the belt up. Oh, I need to do it a little bit more. You gotta be careful because this is kind of a pain in the butt to get threaded back in, so you don't want to loosen it all the way. Just enough to get it loose. slide the belt up and over the pulley. And then loosen this bolt all the way. Pop it off. Oh no, it didn't hit the ground. Well, lucky for me, that's where that bolt landed. Now what I'm going to do next is finish removing the bolt in the back. Now it's actually part of a stud. Well, not a stud, but there's like a capture nut thing on the back of it. So I'm just going to run it out with the impact gun. All right, so this is the engine and trans from the NYG, and this is what the bracketry looks like. This is, you know, they use the same style of bracketry from the first gen single cam stuff all the way up to the 05s. So I just got this bottom bolt out on my daily, so I just need to pop the alternator this way first, you know, rotate it this way, and then I'll be able to slide this all over into the side. So that's what I got to do. There we go. All right, so I have the alternator off the bracket, but I can't really get it out. So what I'm going to need to do is to remove the lower alternator bracket with these 3 bolts. I'm just going to reach in there with this and get them out of there. So from this angle, you can really only see 2 of the bolts. I'll try to show you the 3rd one when I get to it. Yeah, it was so much easier. Pop this one off the rest of the way. Put your hardware together. Yep, the last bolt's out. Bracket came out along with the alternator popping down. So your boy here is kind of an idiot, so don't be like me. I had thought that the wires were long enough on the alternator that I could access them from outside, and they're not. And then I forgot about that little red push lock connector on there. It's the same as this little red push lock connector here. You have to push it to the side before you can push the connector down to pull it out. I just spent the last like 10 minutes trying to undo a connector that I wouldn't pull out because of that little red push lock. And then I broke it. So now I have to use the little red push lock when I push it back in. So don't be like me. There's also a little 10mm bolt that holds the power wire on. So you're gonna have to undo that from the top too. There it is. Got it loose. It's loose enough now. Power wire off, now I can get it out. This should just, I have to wrestle it a little bit, but it should just come out of here now. Here we are. Here's our alternator. But anyway, the lady helped me out. She found the core that I needed, so, or she found my warranty information. So I'm gonna head back home, get the alternator installed, and then be ready for whatever I'm gonna do the rest of the day. stop, alto, stop, alto. Why ain't they finished spelling alternator? So the first thing you're gonna do, peel the stupid stickers off so they don't get stuck in something. Oh no, I need that. Actually, I don't. That's fine, I got a new one. Remove this little 10mm nut because that's what's gonna hold on your battery terminal. You're gonna run the alternator up and through, put the connector on, push the lock tab over, put the battery terminal on. So I'm getting ready to put the new alternator in, and I'm trying to film stuff, and my phone's about to die. So I rigged this up. Gonna put the positive up here and the negative to one of the side terminals and just hook it to a car battery. And you can charge your phone if you're in desperate need. And I was at 10%, so I was kind of in desperate need. I also realized why my phone kept cutting off when I was trying to record. Apparently, I was out of phone storage, so I don't have to go through and clear a bunch of stuff out again. So you can kind of see here, I snapped the part of the latching mechanism off for my alternator's connector. So the only thing that's going to hold it in place when I lock it now is this red tab. So be smarter than me. Don't let this red tab beat you. Connector just slides in, down, then red tab flips over, and it's not going anywhere. So the lug just goes on there, and then there's a little slot for like protective so it doesn't shock anything. And you take your nut and your socket and drop it on there. Put it on. Get it a little finger tight. And go get my ratchet so I can snug it down some. You don't want to go ham on this because you can snap this stud. It's only a 10mm. So, yeah, just a little snuggy snug. Alright, that's pretty good right there. All right, so I'll just snug it down so it can still move freely. Once you got that started, you're about halfway there. You're gonna get some. You're getting some. Oh, that's fighting me. You're getting some. You're getting some till you tighten up a little. Back it up here. Alright. This top bolt's up here. It's kind of up and out of the way, so I can't just smack it with the impact gun. But my flex head 72 tooth Pittsburgh Pro ratchet. We'll grab it. Now this is not a sponsorship. You know, I'm also not a professional mechanic, but I have beaten the brakes off of this thing for years at this point, and it hasn't broken on me yet. All right. Can I reach the top bolt through here? Nah. I gotta get the top bolt from the top, conceivably. Yeah, before I forget, toss the alternator belt back on. It goes on the large pulley. You're gonna go tighten it up with that 13 mil that's on the back on the adjuster. In this angle, you can see how far I gotta run in this bolt to get the belt somewhat tensioned. And you know, I learned the other day, well, relearned, that you want the belt, alternator belt, a little tighter than what I remember wanting. You don't want your alternator belt too tight, because if it is, it'll wear out the bearings in it prematurely. But you want to be able to twist it a little bit, but you know, where it's not going to slip off. When it gets about halfway, it's a little tight. So now I can lock down the top bolt. So this is the angle I have to deal with to get that top bolt locked down. Alternator belt's good to go. Let me throw on the battery and do a test fire. Slap this serpentine belt back on. I usually drop it down from the top, so it's got to go down. All right, I'll have to give you guys a tour here in a second. So to start off with, you want to get your accessory belt around your crank pulley and around your air conditioning pump if you have it. Around your power steering pump right here. Then it's got to tuck behind the power steering pump, and this is where you're gonna want to start fighting stuff, because it has to get behind that tensioner, behind the tensioner belt pulley right there. It's going to go behind the tensioner pulley and then wrap around the power steering pump, and you gotta kind of do a dance to make it happen. I'll see if I can film myself doing it. It's probably going to be the best way you can see what I'm doing. But I have the belt routed everywhere except for around the tensioner. Pull the tensioner forward. Nope, just came off the crank pulley. Rad. Here we go. It's tensioned. Now this belt always fits a little loose because of the underdrive pulley, but whatever, it works. So now we got to finish up everything down here. The lower alternator bolt, and then the little strut rod piece for that, whatever that motor mount bracket is. First off, we start in here. A little brat. And this. This goes in the little frame rail up here. Can't fit my impact in there. A little breaker bar action. Oh, that's probably good right there. I'm gonna put the wheel back on and we're done. Now, I do have a matching set of the Fiero wheels, and I have a matching set of these Shelby wheels, but I just haven't had a chance to get the new tires I have for the Fiero wheels mounted. And also, this car needs an alignment pretty bad. I did the alignment myself, and it's still got some toe issues, so I need to redo it. I'm going to try and redo it and pay a little bit better attention. See if I can find a slightly flatter surface to do it upon. I'll have some time to do that hopefully this weekend. So all in all, it took me about 4 hours to get this done. That included me making coffee and taking it out, driving to the store and coming back, getting it done, and filming. And filming definitely adds a lot of time to this, but I know that people appreciate it. People will use this later if they have to change an alternator or just want to hear me ramble and argue with myself about it. Anyway, I like to say that an hour a day will keep the jack stands away, but man, sometimes those jack stands will just make an unannounced visit and kick the door open and be like, hey, you're gonna need me today. So anyway, just get out there and throw some wrenches. You'll get stuff done.